Hello! This week we are resurrecting the dead! But I'm not going to do the voice. So this is Mr. Garrity and the Graves, and it's actually based on a story told in Alta, Utah, from 1873. About a man that does this thing, comes to a town and claims he can resurrect the dead, and how the people in the town are very worried about, people who've gotten remarried and what happens to the inheritance and all that kind of stuff. And a sports writer wrote about this, and it got picked up in the local paper, and Rod Serling read about it when he was off skiing. So that's why we have the story. So this takes place not in Utah, but in Happiness, Arizona. And I like the town name that they renamed it to give it a bit more pep. Sort of like Perfection, Nevada, in case those of you who are interested in things that tremor underground. So they've renamed the town because it's a lot better now than it was before. Makes sense. The sheriff, he draws his gun and does a bit of a spin, nothing too extravagant, and then he taps himself on the head and then catches himself that is a really bad idea, which it is. We talked about this before with Van Cleef, who had a fantastic steady hand with his gunplay, and you can see some other people who do not. I wouldn't rank this guy as among the top people like that. So they avoid doing a stunt with a dog because it's really difficult to do a stunt with the dog. They just have the noise playing, and then of course there's a dead dog in the street. It's of course not a dead dog. It's a dog that is playing dead, and you can tell it's breathing, and in the second clip in particular you can see its mouth move. So, but it's a nice dog. They didn't do a still because that would be, weird. They do mention that putting the people back in the ground requires maximum effort. Now, they couldn't know this, obviously. This is, 60 years before their time. But putting maximum effort into putting someone into the ground is more of a Wade thing, right? But yeah, I just chuckled at the mention of maximum effort to put someone in the ground. In the entire thing is shot on one of these Western lots. It's a bit difficult for us to get how there were so many Western series during this time, so many Western movies. It was very, very, very popular. So there were lots of these sets around, and you could have them, you could wreck them and do all kinds of stuff when the series failed. So them just having one laying around and just set up shop and set signs that said happiness on them, and off they went. It's really easy. I wouldn't be surprised if you could find a series or a movie that uses this particular saloon, for instance. The Boot Hill Cemetery is shot on a soundstage, though. It ends with the corpses rising out of the ground, and there's no dirt on them, which is a thing. I would suspect they'd be covered in dirt because they've been clawing themselves out of a grave. They're not buried that shallowly, I would assume. And Zelda's line in the end is this is just very, very classic domestic abuse. It's very hard to listen to. I'm going to break his arm, And it gets excused, I think, because she's a woman and that women do not do domestic abuse. I guess that was sort of a prevailing thought of the time. But obviously this is not a good person to be around. So the next episode is about robots, automation, and it's the brain-centered Whipple. And I will see you in a week. Take care now. Bye.